The $28 million trap. Nike just handed Caitlin Clark a $28 million deal, and the man who made Michael Jordan a billionaire says it might be the worst contract in sports history. Here's what nobody is telling you. There is a hidden clause in this story, something Clark did quietly while the whole world was debating her Nike deal that changes everything. And by the end of this video, you're going to realize she might be the smartest person in the entire sports business right now. Stay with me. Before we go any further, if you are new here, subscribe right now. We break down the business moves, the power plays, and the stories behind the headlines that everyone else misses. Hit that bell, too, because this one is going to go deep. The contract that started a war. In April 2024, before Caitlin Clark played a single professional minute, Nike handed her an 8-year $28 million deal. Most people heard that number and celebrated. $28 million for a rookie before one professional game. But Sonny Vaccaro, the exact man who signed Michael Jordan to Nike in 1984 and built the most powerful athlete brand the world has ever seen, went on record and called it one of the biggest failures he has ever witnessed in his entire career. Not a misstep, not a missed opportunity, a failure. His word, not mine. And when the architect of the Jordan Empire calls something a failure, you stop everything and listen. Here is why he said it. Go back to 1984. Nike signed Jordan for $2.5 million. Sounds laughable compared to $28 million, right? Except Jordan did not just take a salary. He negotiated royalties, 5% on every single product that carried his name. Every shoe, every jersey, every piece of gear, forever. That one clause turned a $2.5 million deal into a net worth of over $3.5 billion. Jordan is the highest paid athlete in the history of the world. Not because of his salary, because of his royalty structure. Clark's deal? Flat rate. 8 years, no publicly known royalties, no equity, no ownership stake in anything Nike builds around her name. Just a fixed number spread across nearly a decade. Vaccaro told the press straight up, her representatives should have held on until the very last drop. She should have gotten a piece of everything. And he was not alone. Analysts ran the numbers and said a player of Clark's market value should be earning $20 million per year. Not $28 million total. $20 million annually. That is the gap we are talking about. Her WNBA salary in 2025 was $78,000. Combined with her Nike deal, her total basketball income that year was roughly $3.5 million. Meanwhile, NBA players with half her cultural footprint were pulling 10 times that from shoe contracts alone. Every arena she stepped into was sold out. Her games were drawing over 1 million television viewers on average. Her jerseys were the top sellers in the entire league. The economic wave she created touched broadcast rights, merchandise revenue, stadium concessions, ticket prices, everything. And all of that commercial power was locked up for 8 years at a fraction of what the market said it was worth. So, the question is simple. Did Nike take advantage of her? Or is something else going on here? Keep watching because this story gets a lot more complicated. What Nike did next made it worse. You signed the biggest name in women's basketball. You have a player who has single-handedly dragged the WNBA into mainstream American conversation. Her rookie season shattered television records. She sold out arenas across the entire country. Every game she played became a cultural event. And then you wait 3.5 years to give her a signature shoe. 3.5 years. While Aya Wilson got her Nike signature, while Sabrina Ionescu got hers, while Angel Reese, Clark's biggest rival, landed a Reebok deal and had her own shoe on a faster timeline than the woman who was literally rewriting the record books every single week. Clark spent that entire stretch wearing Kobe Bryant's signature line. Great shoes. Iconic shoes. But not hers. Vaccaro was stunned. He told reporters that Clark entered the WNBA as a bigger cultural phenomenon than Jordan was when he entered the NBA. His reasoning was direct. Jordan was exceptional, but he still had to prove himself to the public. Clark was already a household name before she ever put on a professional jersey. The public had latched onto her in a way Vaccaro said he had genuinely never seen before in his entire career. And Nike, the company that built its entire identity on the phrase "just do it," somehow did nothing for 2 years. Reports suggested Nike wanted to stagger their WNBA releases, giving Wilson priority because of her tenure. Others pointed to internal politics within Nike's marketing division. Whatever the internal reason was, the result was the same. The most talked about athlete in women's sports did not have her own shoe for over 3 years of peak cultural relevance. That window does not come back. You cannot recreate a rookie season. You cannot manufacture that kind of organic momentum after the fact. Nike had lightning in a bottle and chose not to open it. But even that was not the hardest part of Clark's story. The year everything broke. The 2025 WNBA season was supposed to be her year. After a rookie campaign that broke records nobody thought were breakable, expectations were through the roof. She had set the league's single-season assist record. She was Rookie of the Year. She made the All-WNBA first team. Every single metric pointed toward years of dominance. Then, her body started breaking down. First, a right groin sprain. Then, left quad injuries. Then, a bone bruise in her left ankle. One after another, her season disappeared underneath her. She played 13 games. 13 out of a full 40-game season. She still put up impressive numbers in those 13 appearances. 16.5 points per game, nearly 9 assists. But her three-point shooting dropped below 28%. The injuries were affecting everything, and everyone could see it. The Indiana Fever, to their credit, found a way without her. They made it to the WNBA semifinals and pushed the eventual champion Las Vegas Aces to the absolute limit. But for Clark, watching from the sideline was something she described as the most isolating experience of her life. She had played 4 years at Iowa without missing a single game. 139 straight appearances. And suddenly, she could not stay healthy for 2 weeks at a stretch. She said publicly that you do not understand how lonely an injury is until you are the one living it. And throughout every single day of that pain, every hour of rehab, every silent morning in the training room, Nike still had not given her a shoe. The comeback nobody was sure about. The 2026 preseason became her testing ground, and every single step carried weight. She was averaging 13 points in about 15 minutes across 3 preseason games. Encouraging numbers. Then came the moment that stopped every heart in the building. During a preseason game, Clark attempted a step-back jumper, landed on a defender's foot, and went down hard. She grabbed her knee, limped to the bench. The arena went completely silent. After everything she had already survived, nobody wanted to watch her go through it again. She was fine. But the moment exposed something real. The physical injuries had healed. The mental scars had not. She talked openly about the mental hurdle of trusting her body again, about how every tweak, every morning of soreness, sent her mind back to 2025. When the regular season opened in May 2026, Clark walked onto the court and reminded every single person watching exactly who she is. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. She became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 1,000 points, 250 rebounds, and 250 assists simultaneously. But even during that game, she left the bench multiple times to have her back adjusted by medical staff. Her coach admitted afterward that managing Clark's back and hip alignment would be an ongoing process throughout the season. A few games later, she missed a game entirely due to back soreness. The Fever did not list her beforehand and received an official warning from the league. Clark addressed it directly. She said that if she does not feel fully confident in her body on a given day, pushing through may not be worth the long-term risk. She wants to play all 44 games. But she is also learning that protecting herself is part of the strategy. And that word, strategy, matters more here than people realize. June 17th changed everything. On June 17, 2026, Nike Basketball posted a single image to social media with 3 words, introducing the Caitlin 1. After 3.5 years, the shoe was finally real. And it was not some rushed product assembled to chase a moment. Nike went completely all in. The Caitlin 1 features a brand new technology called Opticast, a construction of cast polyurethane nodes at varying heights designed to reduce drag and improve how the shoe moves with the player on the court. Nike has never used this technology in a basketball shoe before. It was built specifically for this release. The visual design pulls from the ripple of a three-point arc underneath the outsole, hidden from casual view, our personal messages, shoot more threes from anywhere, and it was never a long shot. The stacked swooshes on the side are designed to mirror Clark's initials. The nodes on the outside of the shoe are shaped like C's. The nodes on the inside are shaped like 2s, a direct nod to her jersey number 22. Clark was involved in every single detail from the very beginning. She described the process like recording a debut album. You want it to be perfect. She spent time in the Nike Design Lab building mood boards, selecting colorways, and hiding personal Easter eggs throughout every element of the shoe. She teased the first colorway, a striking all-blue design, by changing her Instagram handle to Caitlin Clark 1 and swapping her profile picture to a blue Nike logo. She wore a bracelet to a game that read 100,126, the release date. Travis Scott was spotted wearing a black and chrome colorway before the official announcement. Pre-orders reportedly sold out within 24 hours of going live. The shoe retails at $140 and drops October 1st. It comes alongside an 18-piece apparel line, the first time Nike has brought its standard issue innovation to women's basketball. Clark also joins one of the most exclusive clubs in sports. She is now just the 5th active WNBA player with a signature shoe from a major brand. Now, here's the detail that most people missed entirely. Pay close attention to what happened next. The tunnel walk that broke the internet. The very next game after the shoe reveal was Indiana versus the Atlanta Dream. That is not a coincidence. That is choreography. Clark walked into the arena carrying the Caitlin 1s in her hands. All-white outfit, blue shoes, impossible to ignore. The image hit social media and went viral within minutes. Every sneaker account, every sports outlet, every basketball page reposted it. The engagement numbers were extraordinary. Nike knew exactly what they were doing with that timing. And so did Clark. But here is what separates this from every other shoe launch moment you have seen. This is not a colorway swap. This is not a name on the tongue and a different lace color. This shoe has genuine research and development behind it. New proprietary technology. A performance story built specifically for the way Clark plays. The speed, the range, the pull-up from distances most guards will not even attempt. That is rare. And it is exactly what Vaccaro said Nike should have done from day one. They just took 3.5 years to get there. And somewhere in that delay, that frustrating, baffling, borderline inexplicable delay, Clark was doing something that nobody was paying attention to. Stay right here because this next part is what the entire story has been building toward. What she was building while nobody was watching. While the sneaker world debated when Clark would finally get her shoe, and while sports commentators argued about whether her Nike deal was a disaster, Clark was quietly constructing something much larger than a shoe contract. Her salary situation has already transformed. Under the WNBA's new collective bargaining agreement worth $1 billion over 7 years, Clark's 2026 salary jumped to over $528,000. That is nearly 7 times what she earned in 2025. By 2027, it climbs again. The new CBA sets a maximum salary of $1.4 million, which Clark will be eligible for once she hits free agency. And that CBA did not happen by accident. Clark and other WNBA stars staged a protest at the All-Star Game. They wore black shirts with white text that read, "Pay us what you owe us." Angel Reese went public and said she struggled to cover her basic expenses on her WNBA salary. The contrast between what these women generated for the league and what they took home had become impossible to ignore. The new agreement was a direct response to that pressure. And Clark's presence at the center of the league's growth gave every player at that negotiating table enormous leverage. Rookie salaries alone jumped 6 times over. The first overall pick in 2026 entered the league making $500,000 in her first year. Clark's rookie salary 2 years earlier was $76,000. The landscape shifted that fast. The league itself is expanding at a pace nobody predicted. 2 new franchises tipped off in 2026. The Golden State Valkyries set all-time attendance records in their debut year, averaging 18,000 fans per game. 3 more expansion teams are coming. The WNBA is no longer a side project. It is a full professional league experiencing the same kind of explosive growth the NBA went through in the 1990s. And just like that NBA era had Jordan at the center of the explosion, this era has Clark. But her real wealth is not coming from basketball at all. According to a 2025 Sportico report, Clark earned over $16 million from sponsorships alone in a single year. That is more than 200 times her league salary. Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Buick, Goldman Sachs, Bose, the list keeps growing. She was the first college athlete to become a national spokesperson for State Farm. A grocery chain in Iowa released a limited edition cereal with her name on it. And then, she started buying things. In November 2024, Clark joined an ownership group working to bring a women's soccer expansion team to Cincinnati. That is not an endorsement deal. That is an ownership stake. That is equity. That is the thing Boccaro said was missing from her Nike contract, and she went out and found it somewhere else on her own terms. She became a regular at Michael Jordan's private golf club in Florida. A course that reportedly cost $20 to build and charges around $200,000 just to join. The membership list includes Rory McIlroy, Wayne Gretzky, Dustin Johnson, and Mark Wahlberg. And right in the middle of that group, a 24-year-old point guard from Iowa. During her injury year, when most athletes in her position stay locked in the gym, Clark took a photography role with the Indiana Pacers. She spent time studying the sports business from the inside of an NBA organization, not from the athlete side, from the operational side. That is not something you do if you are just trying to stay in shape. That is something you do if you are trying to understand how empires are built. The real question nobody is asking. So, was the Nike deal actually a fumble? Clark says she should be making $20 million a year from Nike. On pure market value, the argument is strong. Clark is the engine driving WNBA growth. She is the reason networks are paying record amounts for broadcast rights. She is the reason expansion franchises are being valued at numbers that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. She is the reason the new CBA exists in the form it does. Her impact is not a debate. It is measurable. It is documented. It is enormous. But consider this from her perspective. She is 24 years old. She has a shoe built on technology no other basketball player has ever worn. She has an 18-piece apparel line launching alongside it. She has an 8-year partnership with the most powerful sports brand on earth, giving her access to their global infrastructure for the rest of this decade. She has ownership stakes outside basketball. She has relationships with the most powerful people in sports business. She has a new CBA multiplying her salary several times over in the coming years. When her Nike deal expires, she will be 32 years old. Still in her prime. With a proven signature shoe line, a global brand already established. And the leverage to negotiate absolutely anything she wants. Jordan's first deal was $2.5 million. His real wealth came from what he built on top of that foundation over the following 4 decades. The Jordan brand alone generates over $5 billion annually. He turned a sneaker endorsement into a cultural empire spanning fashion, sports, music, and business. He purchased an NBA franchise for $275 million and sold it for $3 billion. He became the first athlete ever to appear on the Forbes 500 list of the richest Americans. That is the trajectory Clark appears to be following. Both from the Midwest. Both entered professional sports as the most hyped players of their generation. Both signed with Nike early. Both faced immediate criticism about their deals. And both seem to understand that the real money is never in the first contract. It is in what you build on top of it. Clark is not just collecting endorsement checks. She is collecting positions. An ownership stake in women's soccer. A seat at the most exclusive golf club in the country. A signature shoe line with proprietary technology. An inside look at how an NBA franchise operates from the administrative level. Each move looks small in isolation. Lined up together, the pattern is unmistakable. She is building infrastructure. She is creating multiple revenue streams. She is engineering leverage for every negotiation she will have for the rest of her career. Where this all leads. The league is expanding faster than anyone projected. The money flowing into women's sports is at an all-time high. Female athletes are receiving media exposure and endorsement deals that would have been impossible to imagine a decade ago. The landscape of professional women's sports has fundamentally and permanently shifted. And right at the center of all of it, setting the pace, refusing to settle, playing a game that most people in this industry cannot even see yet, is a 24-year-old guard from Iowa who is just getting started. Come October 1st, when the Caitlin 1 drops and sells out within hours, the conversation shifts completely. She will not be a player with a shoe. She will be a brand with a basketball career attached to it. And when her Nike deal expires, and she sits down at that negotiating table with 8 years of proven commercial power behind her, a signature shoe line, a global fan base, an established apparel collection, ownership stakes in multiple sports properties, and a network that includes the most powerful names in the business world, the number she asks for will not be $3.5 million a year. The real question is not whether Nike fumbled the Caitlin Clark deal. The real question is whether Caitlin Clark is building something so large that the Nike deal ends up looking like the best decision she ever made, even if it was actually the worst contract she ever signed. Because if the rookie season was the spark, and 2025 was the fire that almost burned everything down, then this comeback season is the moment she proves what the entire story has actually been about. She bet on herself, and the smart money says she is right.